What
All
happened, Rob?
right.
You're good.
We're
We got
back
kicked off
now.
the air.
All right, so we're back after one of our guests clicked us off, guys.
That's what. Well, that sounded bad.
Yeah. Well,
No, it's what happens when you give us backwood hicks producing powers. They don't know what buttons to push sometimes, and yeah.
yeah.
So
He messaged me right after. He's like, "Shit, I think I ended the stream." I was like, "You did, you dumbass."
yeah, I sent him a message like, "Dude, you killed Rob's show. Literally, you killed it."
So I guess you can call this part two of the podcast. And I don't know where we got cut off, so I'm just gonna
Right.
reiterate:
Start
the
fresh.
budget was 16
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
The budget was 25 million, and it made 16 million during the initial run, and it ended up
Hmm.
making after the second release 73.5
Yeah.
million. So that's
Yeah.
where about
There's.
where we ended.
Yeah.
So
It
Travis
was.
was talking about what movies it went up against, and you said Pulp Fiction was one.
Pulp
What were some
Fiction.
of the other big ones?
Forrest Gump. And at the time, if you look back when this played, prison movies were not popular at all.
Going up
You
against
know.
Forrest Gump, it's tough to
Yeah.
go up against a retard movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you had both aspects there. So you had Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump. So
Both retarded.
and and then, but the thing was though, it got multiple award nominations, including 7 Academy Award nominations.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait a minute, this was a box office flop. How's it getting? So the powers that be were like, we need to release this film.
Yeah.
So they did a second theatrical release where it made 73.3 million. That's not including the original 16 million it made. But
Yeah.
then the other kicker was through its awards it got people talking about, well, this movie's got all those awards. I've never heard of it, or I never could go, or I didn't go see it at the theaters. So by word of mouth and that, they sold over 320,000 VH rental movies, and that's not the ones you buy at Walmart. That's exclusively the ones that are sold to the rental stores that
Yeah.
are younger. That well, we need to clarify because our younger viewers don't understand. Back in the day, you couldn't just pull out your phone and stream any movie. You had to go to a store and wait. Like if a movie come out in theaters, you had to wait like 4 to 5 months, sometimes 6 to 8 months later, and then you could
Yeah.
go to a rental store and rent a VHS copy
And forget
or
about watching it on
DVD.
TV. That would be like years
Yeah.
later.
Oh yeah, 2 years
And
later, exactly.
well, yeah. If that was
So
a
yeah,
flop. Like Shawshank, how long did it take before Shawshank hit TV? It was probably 5 6 years
oh
anyway.
man, yeah, it was
I think it
probably
was like
yeah. You're probably right on there.
99 or 2000. I think it hit cable
Yeah,
services.
but once it hit, they played that sumbitch all the time. And then
Yeah.
even after it got old, you got the special ones. Remember you used to have that on the channels where like early Saturday morning, if they weren't playing cartoons,
Yeah.
you had a big budget movie, but then you had all the commercials where like they were trying to sell you new windows for your house and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They still
and
show it in circulation heavy today.
oh
They
yeah,
have
they do.
Shawshank
It's
all the
it
time.
it it's a great movie.
It
Uh,
is.
Director Frank, how do you pronounce his last name? Darbont.
Darbon. Yeah, Darbon.
Yeah, he actually purchased the film rights from Stephen King for this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and set on it for a while, and then finally decided to do something with it. And
Yeah.
then he got the initial 25 million from the company to make it.
There
There's
was a. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there was a really interesting story behind him buying that because the book was called Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption.
Hmm.
I don't know if any of you guys read the book, but
I
um,
haven't.
so he ended up buying that, and I guess from what was it, Castle Rock, I guess whatever the studio was. But then they offered him like 2.5 million or something to let Rob to go away and let Rob Reiner make the movie because Rob Reiner, I guess he was the one who did Stand By Me, which is an awesome
Yeah.
film too.
Yeah.
But so he took a lot less, but he turned it down. He didn't. He I think he did the movie for like his pay was like 700,000 or 750 or something like that, and a percentage of future profits, which was awesome. Back then, that was kind of unheard of, taking a
Yeah.
risk like that. But it worked out. But when Rob Reiner was talking about directing it, he didn't want Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. Do you guys know the other actors he was wanting for this?
No, I don't.
They were all going to be white actors because I guess it
Yeah,
was written for a white actor. It was supposed to be Harrison Ford at one point.
and Tom Cruise.
Then it was no, Tom Cruise was for Andy.
Yeah, well, Rob Reiner, he had his apparently from what I read, he had his heart set on Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford for those two
And but
roles.
also Tom Hanks got offered the role of Andy, and obviously he was doing Forrest Gump. So um,
Could, could,
the
couldn't
interesting
he?
thing would have been if Robert Duvall got the role of Red, because I know Robert
Yeah.
Duvall did read for it. Because
Could
I'm a
That would
huge
have been
Robert
interesting.
Duvall fan, so
could
I'm trying to
could you
picture
imagine?
Robert Duvall.
Could you imagine how the music would have changed? You know, when he's digging his way through the shit pipe, if Harrison Ford would have got it. In the background, we would have heard a dun dun dun
Oh,
dun dun
oh,
dun.
but like
dun. And about
either
the
that
time
or
he
the
pops
fugitive
out,
music.
yeah,
With some Han Solo music, yeah, good hell.
And the
yeah.
role of
Um,
Tommy was actually offered to Brad Pitt.
I
But Brad Pitt was still kind of a younger actor at the time, and he ended up doing Thelma and Louise that year. So, he
um,
was still wrapping up Thelma and Louise.
yeah.
So,
I did notice something. I don't know if this was meant to be a throwback to the Shawshank Redemption, but a modern series. They just did their last. I believe it's going to be their last last take of it. Didn't you watch the Blacklist? It's
no,
on
I don't want.
Netflix.
I've watched a
No,
couple episodes.
I love that. I've followed it. Well, you know, Morgan Freeman's character's name is Ellis Red for the
yeah,
for his AKA Red Redding. Well, James Spader's main character is Robert Reddington in
Oh
that
wow,
one,
so yeah,
and they
okay.
call him they call him Red by, of course, you know, his nickname. But Ellis is also another one of the main characters in that. So I don't know if they did that on purpose as a throwback to the Shawshank Redemption. I just picked up on that tonight when I was jotting down some last minute notes about this. But yeah,
oh wow,
so I thought that was Raymond Reddington. I'm sorry, not Robert, but it's Raymond Reddington. But I just thought that was kind of cool that it kind of had a blacklist, kind of did a throwback to
yeah.
that.
But to me, I couldn't picture Tom Hanks or maybe Tom Hanks, but definitely not Tom Cruise as Andy. Uh,
Mm-mm.
I think they made the right choice with Tim Robbins. He's a great character actor,
Yeah.
and like
Oh
he
yeah.
owned that role of Andy. He owned it.
They could have not picked a better cast for this. That I mean, and it would have been just wrong if Tom Cruise would have walked up to Harrison Ford and been like, "You complete me," in part of the scene or something. Because
uh,
they've been in prison a long time. Just saying, I'm not
I feel
judging,
the
but
need for speed.
yeah, I couldn't see those two playing those roles, but so
no.
it's a good thing that Frank Darabont kept the film instead of turning it over to Rob Reiner like a lot of people wanted.
Oh
But
yeah.
you talked about how they use the names interestingly in movies. Stephen King's been notorious for that, and some of his films we've talked about reviewed before. We've talked about how some of the names were used from books and things like that into his movies, but in this one, like Andy Dufresne, when he gets out of prison, you remember that when he goes to all the banks and cashing
Yeah,
out,
Yeah.
in the book, well, it's kind of a novella. It wasn't a long book. He used the name Peter Stevens, but so they opted out of doing that, so they didn't want to get sued by anybody that had the real name. But he kept Stevens as part of the name that Frank
Stevenson.
got in, and changed the name to Randall as a reference to Randall Flagg from The Stand.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so Randall Stevens was
Yeah.
the guy who went around to all the
That's pretty
banks and
cool.
cashed out.
but you're right, Travis. Like this cast was perfect. I can't see anyone playing Red except for Morgan Freeman. Like
No.
even Morgan Freeman till today says that was the best movie he's ever been in.
Yeah, Morgan. I mean, and Morgan Freeman is such a great actor. Not on the top, such a good human being. I mean,
Yeah,
just great. I mean, all the way around. Uh, Loved his character in this. Um, those two's, I don't know what you'd call it, but just
the
the way
chemistry.
yeah, the chemistry is. There's nobody else they could have put in that role. that would it. Well, they could have, and I don't think we'd be sitting here talking about it right now if they would have
No.
done that. You know.
Every character, you're right, is sort of perfectly fit into this movie. The guy who played Warden Norton, I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
remember his name, but
I mean,
I can't really see anybody else playing Warden Norton
Or
or even
Hadley.
Brooks or
mm-hmm.
Hadley. A lot of
Clancy Brown is such an
Yeah.
underrated actor.
Oh
Such an
yeah. I
underrated.
love Clancy.
Yeah.
Even William Sadler was,
Yeah.
his role was perfect in this. He even had one of the main. I cannot remember his name to save my life. He was one of the main villains off the original RoboCop. He's the one that gets the acid spill or the liquid waste spilt on him, and he's melting when he's coming across the screen.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah, he's
can't
the
remember his
little
name either, but I
half
know who you're
half
talking about.
redheaded dude, half bald on top. Yeah,
Was
Boggs.
it was it was it
But
Boggs?
yeah, it was Boggs in the movie. I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause he was the
yes,
guy who
yeah,
got his ass beat, and they
yeah.
hauled him away in the ambulance. And that was an interesting scene too because the engine died on the ambulance. I don't know if you noticed that, but when the ambulance was going by, they were pushing it.
No, I haven't. It's been forever since I've seen it. I wished I could have
Yeah.
watched it before I'd done this with y'all, but yeah, I was just writing down some notes from memory, and I they're for a two and was this yeah a 2 hour
You,
and 22 minute movie. My notes are pretty short, but
I've seen this a million times. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but the one character I just finally kind of understood more was Brooks. Because we don't get really much of a backstory on Brooks except he's the elder statesman that's been there for a while. But I was watching it a couple of weeks ago, and I picked up on something I never picked up on. You know how he's all mad when he gets released, and when he walks through those gates, it's almost like a transformation. He becomes this important figure inside, and now he looks like a scared little boy going outside.
oh
And
yeah,
it was that one line that he said about cars. He goes, "I saw a car once." So I'm thinking he probably got incarcerated while he was a teenager, right?
oh yeah. Well, you got to
It had to
think
be
this one
young.
took
Yeah.
place. This one took place in 42, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he
Isn't
got
that when
released
this
in
one?
what something 70 something.
Yeah, yeah. So when this
So
movie takes off, it starts in 1942, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
think about it. Why he's so scared? Not because of the institutionalized. He never
oh
really learned any life skills before he was
no,
incarcerated.
his
So
his whole
I
life skills
just
he
picked
learned
up
was
on that.
in the pen. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
3/4 of his life was in the pen, and now he's so scared because he doesn't know how to take care of himself now.
yeah, and he was incarcerated, if I remember right, 50 years.
50
I think
years.
he was. Yeah, okay.
So he had
So
to have
could you
killed
imagine?
somebody or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
the best part of your life you've been in the pen. Look how far from 19. I don't know when he was incarcerated, but from let's say from 38 to whenever they let him out. I mean, 50 years. Look at all the huge technological advances and stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
There's no way you could adjust to that.
But even if
Because I
he was
mean,
like in his mid 20s when he got incarcerated, yeah, there's
yeah,
still change. But at least he would have some experience on
yeah,
like paying a bill or doing this.
yeah,
He was probably 15, 16,
yeah,
and now he's facing a world that he doesn't know how to take care of
yeah,
himself in.
yeah.
So I
And
mean,
and
then
plus, I mean,
how
and
Brent
look
said
at
he was so important inside, right? He
yep,
was an educated man. He
yeah,
handed out the books. He felt like he had responsibilities. He can't do that on the outside.
mm-mm.
And imagine
No,
being
that.
locked up like Andy Dufresne and knowing you're innocent, and then other people later
Oh
on
yeah,
finding out that you're innocent and knowing that the people in the prison don't care. And then just
yeah.
how do you hang on to that kind of hope to get out of there? It took him over
Oh
20
my
years.
gosh, yeah, 19,
Uh,
20 years to get out of there. I mean, the way he did it was phenomenal. You know,
Yeah,
and
but
that
yeah. He kept.
scene when he busts out on the other side, standing in the rain, that's an iconic scene like Mel Gibson shouting freedom, in Braveheart or
yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Um, that's a scene in a movie like you see a picture of that, you know immediately the movie everyone's talking about or what that shows.
yep, oh yeah.
I mean, was anyone else shocked when you think that he's going to kill himself like Brooks did, and then he's not in his cell that day, and of course he picked himself up with that little rock hammer that Red said it would take him 300 years, and he did it in less than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only took him 18 and 3/4.
Oh, that
But
guy must have some
I
serious
did not see
insomnia.
that coming. The first time I saw this, I never saw that coming. That rock hammer would still come into play 19 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to say about this film too, it really has a good draw for all age, almost all age generations.
Yeah.
Like really, this didn't really get to showing till '98, and it's a really long movie. So I don't remember if it was on TV. I think it was on TV the first time I saw it. So if it was on TV, good God, it'd be a 3 hour movie because you got commercials back then.
Commercials. Yep.
And I remember I watched it and I was interested enough to watch it. And I think the commercials might have been what saved me back then because I could have done a little bit of something in this, during the commercials. But I remember it kept me going. But then I remember I watched it later on. I think I rented it. Yeah, we went to DVD then, and I rented it, and it did not feel like I was sitting there for 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I
No.
was like, how did I watch this when I was that young? When I
Yeah.
was younger. But it's just that good of a. Now, I don't think an 8 to 10, 12-year-old would be that interested in this, but you take a 14-year
Yeah,
old and
mid to
up,
late teens can get into
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
it really will draw you in. And still to this day, I can sit here and
Yeah.
say, it's probably been, gosh, it's probably been 7 years since I've seen this movie, but I mean, I come on this show at the last minute, but I
Yeah.
could still remember enough of this to jot some stuff down right before. Because I mean, I literally got home. Well, I messaged you back, what, Rob? Right at just a little after 6, and we were
Yeah.
going on at 7. So yeah, yeah. I just had, and I was like, I have not ate. I haven't took a shower, so I jumped in the shower, got a bite to eat. So yeah, I didn't have much time to research this. Everything I've wrote down here is from memory.
Because
Yeah.
Except
the
for
movie
I
sticks with you.
looked up the statistics, the money and the budget and stuff like that. But other than that, everything else that I've wrote down here is from memory. Like Cyrus
Yeah,
said, this movie just sticks with you.
and one thing I like about a movie like this, and you can watch movies of different genres, and younger people today watch these big blockbuster superhero films, all this.
Hmm.
This movie was so good, you're locked into it because the story is so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, this is masterful storytelling and
Yep.
excellent acting because these people can tell a story, not just say a line. And
Yeah.
and it's not just the words per se, because the novella was really good, but the fact that these people can say the line that they're about to say with just a glance at each other, the way Red would look at Andy Dufresne, or the way Andy would look, just like lost in space, and then defeated, and
Yep.
then look over at Red and say something, and you knew whatever line was coming was powerful because they already said it without saying it, and that
Yeah.
Oh
that
yeah.
says a lot about that movie and that acting and that directing, and it's one of my guilty pleasure movies. If this movie's on TV, I usually stop and I'll watch it, even though I've
Yeah.
seen this movie over 20 times.
Well, here's the thing. I love Andy Dufresne's character because of all the shit he had to go through for 19 years. He was always the most selfless person in the place. Like the time when he did the taxes for Hadley, and he asked, "All I need is a couple beers for my coworkers." He didn't drink one of those.
Yeah.
He let them drink it to make them feel like they were free again. And remember, they came. William Sadler came out and said, "Hey, Andy." He's like, "No, I don't drink anymore." Why did he
Oh
get the
yeah.
beer? Because he wanted to, see
Yeah.
them smile.
Well, if I remember right, he wrote the letters, I believe, to get a
Yeah,
government grant to expand the prison's library.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he like, I would be pissed off at the world. I wouldn't really want to help anybody if I was in his
yeah.
situation. The only thing I
No.
would be thinking is,
That's the
how the
thing.
hell can I get out of here? Because
Well,
he
that's the
knows
thing is
he's there
when
for
the
the rest of
records
his
came in.
life.
Yeah, when the records came in, remember the scene when he put that record on,
Hmm.
and everybody in the prison pretty much stopped they were doing just to listen to that. Like, it was his way of giving back to the to
Yeah.
like I said, he was selfless.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene with him, he doesn't even speak a word. It's when Tommy passed the test, and one of the guards whispers to Andy inside of the when he's locked up in solitary, and he's like, the kid passed with a C plus, and you see that little grin. He's been
Yeah.
in the hole for a month, and he managed to like smile just
Yeah,
because his colleague passed the test. I
yeah.
love that scene. He
But
doesn't
you
say a
know,
word. He just
really,
smiles.
that would be genius though, because I mean, if I remember right, there was not one worker in that prison that did not like him.
No,
Everybody in the prison liked him, which I mean, he had one or two, enemies to make the story, interesting. But everybody liked him, and what better of a way, if you're planning on busting out of that place, was to gain the warden's trust, all the workers' trust, and all that. Because when they walk by, they're going to look in your cell and just kind of, hey, Andy, how you doing? And go
yeah,
on through, or stop and have a conversation. They're not going to be looking for what you're doing. They're not going to expect you to get out because they trust you.
yep.
And yeah, it just that would it's like but I couldn't, if that was a charade he was doing, so nobody noticed what he was doing, trying to dig his way out so he could crawl through
For
2 miles of
19
shit to
years.
his freedom. Yeah, I couldn't have done it for 19 years. There's no way I could have done that.
Well,
No,
think about this: if he was cooking the books for the prison, and he knew where all the money was, he was like, you know
Yeah,
what? I'll bide my time because I'm going to walk
yeah,
out of here with about a cool
because
million. And in those days, that's rich.
yeah, because everything he done for like the prison for all the work, it wasn't legit. It wasn't
Yeah.
lawful. He was teaching a lot of them how to not break the law, but bend the law in their favor. But if they had to go to court, they were screwed. So yeah, he was a very, very smart man when it
yeah.
come to stuff like that.
And
The heartbreaking scene to me though was when Tommy tells them about the guy who really committed the crime,
yeah,
and he goes to the warden. He's pleading with him to find this Blotch. I think his name is Blotch, and the warden knows if I let Andy defend himself, he's gonna tell everything about me. So
Yeah.
what do? They lock him in solitary confinement, and then they end up killing
Yep.
Tommy, saying he tried to escape. That scene killed me when
Yep.
Tommy got shot.
Yeah.
That I mean, I was literally in tears because that was Andy's last chance to get out legally.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a powerful movement in the movie. Yeah, I agree. And it was a gut punch.
Yeah,
You're like, holy shit, this guy finally has a chance to get out. But since he has done so much for these people, and like Cyrus said, he's basically the bookie for them. They
yeah,
can't let him get out. They can't let him get out
yeah.
because he knows too much.
But
And
yeah,
back then,
that's it.
it wasn't like our prison systems now. They had no touch with the outside world. Now
Yeah,
they have cell phones in the prison systems.
yeah. They
They
can watch
they get
cable
cable.
TV.
Yeah, they have
check
to
their
pay for the
internet, check
cable
their
TV,
email.
but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they can do everything in there. I'm like, good lord! I mean, if you were a crime boss, you could still run your crime empire from prison.
Yeah,
It's
Capone
crazy.
managed to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
he,
amazing back then,
yeah,
but that's just because he had the power of fear in his back pocket. Now they use
yeah.
technology,
So
but
I wanted to ask you guys as far as the ending. The ending wasn't in the book the way it was in the movie. So what did you guys think? Initially, they weren't going to put that in the movie, but they decided, like when Red's walking down the beach toward Andy, and then they just pan away.
yeah,
What did you guys think of the ending? Good ending, great ending.
I
I
liked it.
like it.
Um,
Yeah,
I because it kind of left it open. You could imagine what their meeting's going to be. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty solid ending.
well, for me, remember earlier in the movie, Andy talks about hope, and Red gets all upset. He's like, "Hope's a dangerous word." And then we see Red making that bus trip. What does he keep saying? I hope.
Yeah,
I hope
Yeah,
the Pacific is as blue as I thought it'd be. I hope to see my friend again. So
yep.
he's using that word that he despised while he was in prison, and now he's
Oh yeah,
using it as this is my new future now. I hope.
oh yeah,
And yeah, like I said, it's such a small line. I hope,
oh yeah,
but it hits so hard
yeah,
because Red spent 40 years in there, and I loved the last when he had his parole meeting. I loved that speech, like because he for years he just said the same thing. Yeah, I'm all set, blah blah blah, and of course every
hmm
time got rejected. This time he's like, well, fuck it. If they're gonna reject me, I'm gonna tell them what they really want to hear. And
Yeah.
what did it get him? It got him released.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot why was Red in prison?
Murder.
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 A little
Yeah.
That's
fun
right.
fact about the movie. You know the mugshot they show of him. He's
Yeah.
young. You know that's actually his son, Morgan Freeman's son.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used
Cool.
his. They used him for a mugshot. Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, when what was it? When they asked William Sadler's character, he's like, "What did you do?" He goes, "Lawyer fucked me." And then when he goes, "Are you here for your lawyer?" He goes, "Nope, only guilty man in Shawshank." So
Yeah.
he confessed
He
that
lived up to it.
he did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he lived up to it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, when you get to looking at the actors nowadays from this movie, uh, I don't know what the hell Tim Robbins has been doing, but he looks older than Morgan Freeman now.
Yeah.
He looks pretty rough.
Well,
Um,
Morgan Freeman's still killing it. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
but Morgan Freeman, shit, he's got to be 80. He's got to
yeah.
be in his 80s, doesn't he?
Hold on, I'll find out. I can
Yeah.
tell you why Tim Robbins looks so bad because he's married to Susan Sarandon.
Oh, that poor bastard.
Let's
Yep.
see
Yep.
here.
Okay.
How old
That
is
would do it. Too much thigh master going on there.
she's
I've never been a Susan Sarandon fan except for the client.
Bull
The client was
Bull
good.
Durham. Yeah, Client was good. Bull Durham I liked. Morgan Freeman's 86 years old,
Holy shit. Yeah.
Wow.
and
Yep.
I will say this about Shawshank Redemption. Of all the Stephen King books or writings that became a movie, this is I think this is superior to a lot of even the horror films. The only other film that I would rank above this as a Stephen King writing is Stand By Me.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
So
I do got to say though, I remember watching the original The Stand when they debuted it on ABC.
yes,
Um, it was okay. I can't. I don't know. I was young when I watched it, and I haven't revisited it because it takes fucking forever. But if any of you watched the new The Stand, I think Peacock. No, not
I've
Peacock.
watched a
What's the
few of the
site?
episodes.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I
Uh,
watched a few,
I
three or
gotta
four of them.
say it. What? No, no, it was Paramount. Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus, yeah.
I had to subscribe to Paramount for one movie because I couldn't find anywhere, and I subscribed to Paramount just to catch the one movie for my show for the Backwoods. And I found that on there. I didn't even realize they'd remade it, and I'm like, hell, I'm sitting here trying to go to sleep, so I watched it, and it fucking hooked me. It was pretty damn good. The ending I think is a little better than the original stands, but yeah, it's actually it's entertaining. It's worth a watch. Is it something that I'll rewatch in the next 2 3 years? Probably not, but it is worth the watch.
I watched the original back in the fall, right around Halloween month, because I hadn't seen it in a while. I own it, right? So I bought it so I could watch it because they never
Yeah,
show it anymore on cable for whatever reason.
yeah,
On
no, they
Halloween
don't.
month, I haven't seen it in years. So I bought it, and yeah, it still holds its own for a movie made back then
Yeah,
for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the one on Paramount's a lot different. I mean, you got
yeah,
obviously
yeah. It's a
language that they
lot
use,
different.
and
Oh yeah,
violence a lot heavier actually. But the
yeah,
other was made for TV back in the early '90s.
yeah.
But it's
Now,
still
if I
really good
remember,
though.
the ending of the original one's kind of classic Stephen King, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not the best ending in the world for it. This one kind of played along the lines of that, but it put a different retrospect on it, kind of because if I remember in the original, it was like the hand of God come down,
Yeah, it
didn't it?
comes down like this big,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, some like shadow, turn like a light shadow that grabbed the
Yeah.
nuke and blew it up and killed Vegas. And of course, the one good
yep,
guy and the retarded guy and the dog made their way back and
yep.
all that. So, but yeah, it was kind of a classic Stephen King ending. And
Holy
that, but
crap! I forgot about the retarded guy in the original. There's a retarded guy in the new one too. Yeah.
MOON that
So
spells
yep,
retarded.
yep, yep. MMON. It spells fucking everything.
And so,
Yeah.
but he was a good character. That was the guy with wings, if you remember that
Yeah.
show.
Yep.
And so yeah, it holds its own. Another classic Stephen King, other than like Shawshank, that still holds its own after all these years. Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has been so long since I've seen the original. Have they remade that one?
Uh, they
No,
did
they did
part
the sequel
two,
though. They
and
did
people
Return to
saw it.
Salem's Lot
Yeah,
Okay.
but they haven't.
with
I
Michael
hope they don't.
Moriarty.
There's talk about. I've heard talk about them doing it, but I hope they don't because the original is so. It just has that late
Creepy.
'70s, early '80s creepy feel. The
Yeah,
type
it's
of film they use and just everything was
yes,
spot
creepy as
on. And
fuck. Oh yeah,
to this
oh
day, it's still one of
crap.
my. It's the top five of my all-time horror films.
And I cannot remember. Oh, I never can remember his name. Been in so he was in the Devil's Rejects as part of the band. He played in a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. We lost him here just a few years ago. Gosh, why can I not think his name? But anyway, him in Salem's Lot, the way his mate and the little bit of glowing eyes, he was
Oh yeah,
just
yeah, because he got killed.
so damn.
He was one of the guys
Yeah.
who picked up the body to begin with and left it in the.
Yep.
But he
Yeah.
got bit.
Yeah.
When he was burying
So
it in the.
creepy. Yeah, yeah. He was in Any Which Way You Can, Any Which Way But Loose. He was the one that always turned his hat sideways when he's getting ready to fight, like he
Yeah.
clicked on a switch. Yeah, I feel so bad because he's one of my favorite actors too. Um,
Yeah, hang on here. I'll tell you who it is. Let's see.
it's one of the bad things about podcasting on my phone. I can't look anything up. While I need to get a tablet so I can look shit up while I'm doing this.
This is the remake.
Yeah, I do mine. I do my podcast on my phone too.
Yep. Just look up Any Which Way But Loose or Any Which Way You Can cast, and he'll be right there in it. He's like the Clint Eastwood's cousin or brother, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, he's
No,
been
the
in a
only one
shit
I
ton
can
of
think of
movies.
is, but he's his son is Scott Eastwood, but that's his son.
Yeah, no, this is one of his co-stars. And then he's been in shit. If Cody was here, he could name off his. See, that's where Cody's like my better half on the show because he can always remember names. I can give him a description, and he can throw out a name, and I'm horrible at names.
No, it wasn't Ed Flanders.
No.
Larry Crockett. Let's see. Yeah, Jeffrey Bond Lewis.
Yep.
Man, he was
Yeah.
in everything.
Yeah, he has been in everything. Great. Oh, he was even great in even though I mean he was old in the Devil's Rejects, he was great in it. Played his part really good in it because I remember Rob Zombie's wife walks up to him, "Hi, my name's
Yeah.
Baby." And, he's like, "Hey, my wife's over there." "Oh, that's okay, sugar." He's like, "Holy shit."
Oh yeah, what he goes. Can you say that again?
Yeah.
I didn't realize this, but he was in the High Plains Drifter. I totally forgot about that.
Yes, he was. Oh, he was a badass in High Plains Drifter.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been. Oh shit, he's been in at least 4 or 5 Clint Eastwood films that I can remember.
Every Which Way But Loose. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh man,
Any
Sherry
which
Moon
way you
Zombie.
can.
Man, there used to be a strokeability scale on Wayne's World. On the strokeability scale, she rates high.
Holy shit, I forgot about that on Wayne's World. I'm glad you brought that up. I used to
Speaking
love
of,
that part.
that was an awesome movie. That was an awesome clip. Night of the Comet. You guys remember that movie? This guy was in
Yeah.
that too, and
Yes,
I totally
I
forgot about
love
him.
it. Oh shit, he
Um,
was. Yeah, he was like the main scientist underground.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was in Fletch Lives.
Yep.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, he's been in a
The
shit
Lawnmower
ton.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Of
I'm glad he
'92.
was in that.
Yeah, wow, he's in everything.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of the main character. The main guy, it was Jeff something. He was in Psycho 3.
Uh,
Jeff
I can
Jeff
see
something.
him, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I know who you're talking about too.
I remember his first name is Jeff.
Jeff Fahey.
Jeff Fahey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff Fahey.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a good actor.
So
Yeah.
for Shawshank, Rob, what do you rank it?
Oh, I think we could all pretty much say 5 right now. I mean, I could be speaking for you guys, but I'm going 5 because this.
Okay.
I really
go-
can't think of a weakness in this movie. I can't.
I go 4 3/4 easy. I have a hard time giving anything a 5, but this had every story.
Oh, if I had to
acting.
make a top 10 like greatest movies, in my opinion, Shawshank's easily in that top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where,
I
but at least top 10.
Well, I'm right there with Siren. I got to give it a 4.5. You know, it's damn near a perfect movie. It really is.
Poe, we need Poe's rating.
He might be over there punching the clown. We haven't seen him in a while.
No, no,
There he
no,
is.
no. I'm in the background. Yeah, I agree. It's one of the greats. Dude. I mean, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
So, so overall, like even if we did an average, it'd probably be a 4.75 between all of us. So,
Yeah.
Hmm. Pert near to
Yeah.
5.
The only thing is, if I could change the music and the scoring on it, when he busts out at the other end in the rain, I'd play Kid Rock's "Born Free." I don't know about you.
oh, I would put break on through to the other side, the doors.
There you go. That's even better. Yeah.
But yeah, so anybody else have anything to say about this before we get to promoting?
No, good, great film. If you haven't seen it,
No,
Yeah.
watch it.
I think we covered it all.
So I'm going to
It's in the
start with the
Bible. You're
promoting
supposed to watch it.
first. So our next show, we're going to keep jumping around from different genres. Next time, we're going to come back with a horror. We're going to go back to the Father Mahoney horror days, and we're going to be talking about the classic 1990s era. I can't think it's 96. Hatchet, with directed by
Ah,
Adam
cool.
Green.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Showgirls there for a minute.
And then 2 weeks after that, I already have a show lined up for the original Bad News Bears.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
So, so gonna keep jumping around. Uh,
Yeah.
I know Cody mentioned it on the way up before he killed our first. When's your next guy's show, Travis?
It will be 2 weeks from now. We will be doing a cannibal show. We're
Yeah.
going to be covering Cannibal Holocaust and crap. What was the Ravenous? We'll be covering it. Yeah.
Nice. And Poe, is there a Jack transmission soon?
Yeah. Hopefully next Tuesday that'll be happening. And then yeah, it's my schedule's kind of crazy too right now. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna try to get that in Tuesday and then some other stuff. But yeah, follow Dognut Media on everything, you'll keep up with everything.
Oh yeah.
And then we have the joint get together at the end of the month, right?
Yeah, I'm aiming for the last Friday of the month for another
Cool.
Dognut Social Club, and of course, it's only available on Rumble. So go to our channel and like it. That's the only way
If you
you
want to
see
buy
it.
this,
And there's no audio on Spotify or anything, so that's the only place you're gonna get it.
Sounds good. Oh,
And Cyrus, do you have any shows coming up on Gonzos?
yeah, I've got a. I just had one that came out actually, catching up with Cooper. That was a cool show. Then I'm going to be doing another one where I'm going to be ranking the top 10 Kiss albums.
Oh,
Uh,
count me in for
so
that one.
and I wanted to start doing some ranking of some of the greatest albums of some of the greatest bands. Not everybody has 10 albums. Kiss has millions, so that's why I was comfortable doing
Yeah.
like 10.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, then I may break up the 80s by year or like every couple of years, like the top 10 hair metal albums from 80 to 82, 82 to 84, or
That'd
83
be
to 84.
badass.
So break them all down and then have like a battle of the decade, the winner
Cool.
of each couple of years, um, Royal Rumble kind of style. That, and I did actually get some cool news today. The guy I've been co-writing this book with for the last 18 months, 16 months, talked to the public. We have a publisher today that's interested in publishing this. They're getting the edited copy of this book in April, and they are damn excited to be reading this. So we have a
Cool.
publisher, like first time instead of self-publishing, have a publishing house out of the gate ready to look at this and then possibly go ahead and um,
Nice.
sign it. So be a big ass. Reads like a Dan Brown book, guys. If you're or David Baldacci, it's a mystery,
Cool.
but it's kind of goes back in the past too, like historical fiction with some crazy mystery and some killing and some death and whatnot. But it's based on some true shit. So I'd tell you more, but I signed
Awesome.
a
Oh
non-disclosure
man.
agreement to not talk too much about
Hello.
it. So
Ah,
but excited about it. So other than that, and working on Gonzo Chronicles of Barry Dick Part 3.
Nice.
Oh, and some short
Cool.
stories. I got another Dick book coming out. It's called Tales from the Dick Side. It's short stories about Barry Dick from the Gonzo Chronicles. So should be fun. I've got the cover for that one ready too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm probably gonna try to pick up on my writing again. I started a story about 2 years ago. I kind of ran into a roadblock for writer's block. Um, I can't really tell you about it because I keep changing it. So I'll tell you that's got to be kind of a supernatural horror that I'm writing,
Cool.
and hopefully if I can get my thinking cap back on, hopefully I'll be done by close to the end of the year. So I'll let you guys know more when I determine the direction I'm going with it.
That's the tits.
Yeah,
Cool.
and
Cool.
I think that's going to bring us to the end of our show, folks. So I hope you watched both episodes. Thank you, Cody. Oh, and I want to throw one more shout out before we go. I want to shout out Grandpa the Nerd. I know things have been rough lately with him, and just want to send him our love. And I had asked him to come on to the show with us today too, and he was busy today. But hey, that man's a fighter. Like
Oh yeah.
I can't even say any. It's straightforward. He's a fighter, and he knows that he has our support. And keep fighting the good fight, my friend. So, but if we want to wrap this up, let's hear the barking dog.
All right.